Hey, coming up right now, you've heard the saying, you're full of baloney, right? Well, one woman takes it a step further as she tries to clear customs.
Also coming up, stabbed on campus, an Arizona college student caught off guard as she tries to enter a classroom.
A little bit later on, it's all in the fine print. How many times have you heard that? One couple tries to sue Uber after a terrible crash.
Daily Flash starts right now.
Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Jackson.
I am Mitch English. We're welcoming you to Daily Flash. We're so glad to have you here for our midweek show. We always have lots of fun when we do that. Of course, too, we are also joined by Matt Doolittle, who hangs out with us, and we are getting ready for sure for Matt Doolittle.
Yeah, guys, there's a pair of shoes I'm trying to get over here, so I'm a little.
Oh,
bit-
you're shopping.
Shopping.
Don't let the show get in the way of your shopping.
The Kobe 8 Pro Tro Hollywood Nights they're on sale in a minute. So,
right,
Nick,
so-
you want to help me out? You guys, you want to help me out?
Anybody have any cash for that?
Let's get on the-
You know, when you get an email like when you're at the house from Matt, and you're like, what the heck? So he sends me this picture yesterday.
Oh God.
Of something that's outside
no.
my car, right? That we are not sure if it's a human or
or dog, or canine,
possibly.
or feline.
And then he asked me if I brought it in, and I'm like, no, I don't know why it's there. No, it's right next to my car. So apparently I'm guilty by association.
I mean, we have roosters outside too.
We
It could
do.
have been a rooster. That's a big rooster, but it could have been a rooster.
Do you hear the roosters when you come in?
No.
Yeah.
You don't hear the roosters?
There's
Oh, yeah.
roosters out there. It's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the fun you have off camera here at Daily Flash.
New trend right now.
Okay.
Boomers, baby boomers, looking for roommates. So boomer roomies.
Boomer. Ooh, I like that.
Now, here's the reason why. We've got an aging population, right? A lot of
Roommates?
them are living in large homes by themselves. And
Makes
they're
sense.
also talking about the alone virus, which they say kills more people than smoking. You get to that age,
Yeah.
you find yourself dealing with loneliness. They're saying a lot of boomers now, not only to curtail the loneliness, but also to help with money because inflation is affecting everybody. And if you're living on a fixed income, you don't have a lot of extra spending cash. So they're opening up their big homes, if they have them, to strangers, to roommates, not family members, but an actual roommate.
So are they looking? Well, here's the thing. Once you get older and you're married, you and your wife become roommates for the rest anyway. So think about
true.
that. But yeah, the loneliness factor is
Yeah.
a big deal. Now, are they looking for people of their same age, or maybe will they take in anybody? have you seen?
Anybody
Okay.
from 40 to 80, they're looking for
Yeah.
a roommate that can help pay, the rent, that can bring in some money, but also become sort of a friend and have somebody to talk to. And I think,
love
if
that
you've got a
idea.
parent that's living by themselves, it's kind of comforting to know that if they've got somebody there, they can kind of keep an extra eye on them. Someone you can trust.
You just get that
obviously.
necklace when you fall down. What is it?
Sorry,
Help!
I
I
can't
fallen. I
I
can't
can't
get
get
up.
up.
I could buy that, and also too, if you think about your home is probably either about to be paid off or paid off. You don't
Yes.
want to get rid of it. This
No.
has so much of in your life.
Right.
The last thing you want to do, believe me, when you get older, is move once again.
Exactly.
So I like that.
always hear about people downsizing. We're going to downsize and move to a smaller place, but oftentimes it's like, you're right. Who wants to move at that age?
I think like,
I don't want to move at this age.
Nobody wants. Yeah, moving just is a drag.
The worst.
You'll have basements. Where we're at in Florida, we don't have them, but basements
Yeah.
are so easy to rent out, to renovate into like a new apartment. So I
Yes.
could see how that could work. All right, I'm into it. I might do
Boomer
it.
roomies.
All right, anybody want to move in with me when I get older? Let me
I mean,
know.
my mom could. I mean, I'm dealing with that with her right now.
That's true.
She kind of lives on her own, and I'm over there every day, like fixing
So
stuff.
would you feel better if she had a roommate?
Yes.
Ah.
I'm trying to get her a cat at this
Okay.
point. Just something there. But like I've got the whole house rigged up with Amazon
Cameras?
Alexas.
Oh,
So
okay.
I don't want the cameras. But I want the Alexas, so at least if something happens, she can call me on the, like I had to rig it up
that's
like
nice.
that since I'm not there all the
They
time.
have a new one out that they're making for the older generation that is like FaceTime for the TV. And all they have to do is just press a button. So if you need to see them and talk to them, they know that the
Oh,
TV's
that's
there. I know
nice.
a lot of our older generation can do computer computers, but sometimes they just want simplicity. They can press a button, and it's basically a computer monitor, and then it would call you or whoever.
Do they still have those jitterbug phones with the big numbers?
I believe we talked about it a while
one
back.
of those.
The younger generation is actually moving to them. Yeah.
Yes, because they're simple and they just need them for a phone call.
So the boomers, you got the right idea for sure.
Yes.
Let's jump into some trending news. A woman busted smuggling more than 700 pounds of bologna. You tried that,
Yeah,
didn't you, Matt?
girl. I mean, that was the last time we were
Here's the thing. They tried it across the U.S.-Mexico border over in Texas. The 43-year-old American citizen tried to enter the country from Mexico. Nothing's better than Mexican bologna.
Bologna, yeah.
First off, here in the United States, we don't know what's in it. Anyway, she declared only a cooked meal during her first inspection. After a secondary look, they found in her car several suitcases stuffed with 40 rolls of the sandwich meat. In total, inspectors found 748 pounds of Mexican bologna.
Is that Preparation E?
Well, it gets better. Yes,
Yeah.
she's got more stuff in there.
It's illegal actually to bring it stateside because it's considered a threat to America's pork industry, and Lord knows we need that. Agents continued to search her car, Matt, and found 280 boxes of prescription drugs hidden inside various panels of the car. Also found $7,500 in hidden cash.
That's a good time. That seems like a party to me.
You're going to need some Pepto-Bismol after you eat some Mexican bologna, I'm sure.
Cash, bologna, and prescription drugs.
It's a Thursday for me, right?
Well, this next story shines a light on mental health. An Arizona State University student is accused of randomly stabbing a co-ed in class. Authorities charged 19-year-old Casey Lanice Charlie Sloan with first-degree attempted murder in connection with the attack against fellow student Mara Daffron.
Yeah, it looks like she did it.
Thankfully, Mara is making great progress. She is on the mend. Detectives found a handwritten note inside Sloan's backpack that referenced an act she was about to commit. Sloan apparently expressed the desire to hurt somebody in class that day and chose to target Daffron because she considered her a, quote, easy target.
Well, it looks like she would have been. She looks smaller than her and everything. It's scary. The last thing you want to think about is any kind of assault when you're kind of vulnerable when you first go to college, if you think about that too.
Yeah, but I think in this day and age, college campuses seem so disruptive and kind of on edge that it would be helpful if there was somebody that could kind of like cool things down a little bit. This only adds to the concern I'm sure a lot of parents have when it comes to what's happening on campuses across the country.
I agree, and I think this is their first taste of freedom a lot of time, and they're among peers of the same people going through the same things, and the first time they actually have a voice, if you think about it, and there's lots of changes. Your frontal lobe hasn't really fully developed there as well. Let's just hope that she gets the mental help that she needs. We move now to New Jersey, where a couple there suffered life-changing injuries after their Uber ride crashed back in March of 2022. Now, they were in the back seat when their Uber driver ran a red light, T-boned another car. Well, they wanted their day in court, but Uber says, no, not so fast. Georgia and John McGinty, they were told they could not take their case to jury because they agreed to the terms in a fine print that's on the app. The judge ruled that once they click confirm button on the app, they agree to Uber's terms of use. The McGinty's argued that they didn't understand they were forfeiting their right to actually sue the company. Uber says that their terms of use are clear and that these claims should actually be resolved in arbitration, which means that the dispute is settled through a third party rather than in court, and in this case, a lawyer appointed by Uber. Now, legal experts say it intends to result in a much smaller financial settlement as well, because you don't have a jury appears to talk about compensatory damages as well. And then it also goes upon, keep in mind, an Uber driver, even though it's your car and you're supposed to have insurance and that sort of thing, you're working for Uber. So they're going after Uber, and Uber could probably say, well, look, maybe you should go after their insurance instead of and getting, because I can imagine this is not. I know I had a friend actually that
not
was in
an
a wreck
isolated
that had
incident.
Right, thank you for saying.
But the crazy thing is, like, it's the Uber driver's fault, according to the report, that ran a red light and T-boned another car, and these folks suffered some serious injuries, life-changing injuries, and now they're sort of stuck trying to figure out, well, I get the fine print, but that doesn't seem right.
It does kind of linger to the legalese that goes into these things, much like the Disney folks, because
With the allergy?
they bought that. Yeah, she had an allergic reaction and at Disney World, but she had, because she downloaded the app or something, that they can't any kind of argument in front of a judge. That's
the other
weird.
thing too is if this Uber driver didn't tell his insurance company that he was driving for Uber, then the insurance company can go, well, we got nothing in this because he didn't tell us.
He violated
because you
their
have
terms.
to tell your insurance company that you are driving for Uber, whether it's food or whatever. You have to tell them. Otherwise, the insurance company is going to wipe their hands.
It is crazy to think about the fine print when you sign up for these apps or even updates on your phone.
No one reads it.
Nobody reads that stuff.
No.
You just hit agree so we can get on with our day, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's just nuts to think that you're pretty much signing your life
And
away
how
if
many
you
times
have
have
any
you been in
issues.
an Uber where you're like, I don't know if this guy's all together. We were in an Uber in Vegas and I got out and there was a gun on the floor.
True story. No, true story.
Hand baby Christmas. Yeah,
we
got
there.
out and I was like, oh, there's a Glock.
It's a true story. We were.
Yeah.
I saw the gun and everything. I was like, wow. All right, we would love to hear from you about this. Maybe you've had an incident and you'd like to share it with us. We'd like to share it with America. Well, actually, the whole world. Just go to our website to sound off.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. As the U.S. population gets older, it's important to focus on the positive aspects of aging. Connecting with others and keeping active is the key to thriving in those golden years. Joining us now with more is author Florence Ann Romano. Florence, welcome back to the show.
So happy to be back with you. Thank you.
This is an important topic. We've been discussing a lot of these kind of angles to this story, including, boomer roommates. So why is connecting with others so important as we age, and can it improve seniors' overall health?
I feel like I had a front row seat for this growing up. I'm from an old school Italian family. My mom's parents, my grandparents lived with us growing up. And so they always said to us, we are living so long because we have something to live for. It's too much fun here with all of you guys. And they lived well into their 90s. But I understand not everybody is born into that situation. Not every aging population has that type of village. And the truth is, the CDC keeps telling us that loneliness and social isolation is putting our elderly population at risk for dementia, depression, immune deficiency. So as we get older, it's even more paramount for us to focus on connection for our mental health and also our physical health.
Yet the lonely virus is something that the CDC has said it can actually be worse than smoking. How
Yes.
can people find their village, Florence?
I always laugh because people will say to me, do these people just show up at your front door with like a casserole ready to help you raise your children? Like, what's the deal? Is there a phone number to call? So I thought to myself, it's time we actually did have a roadmap for this. So I created 6 archetypes of villagers in my book, Build Your Village. And each of those 6 archetypes has characteristics. They have their own unique nature. And you cast your friends and family into these roles and you figure out, okay, who's missing? Do I need to fire anyone from the roles that they're in, or do I need to shuffle the deck a bit? But that's how you actually take your first step to figuring out who my village is and where they are and how do I find them.
It's like casting a sitcom, almost.
With just as much drama and all of that too. I always say it's like a movie or a play, so pick your poison.
My grandfather always used to say, always have something to look forward to. Give yourself something to anticipate. What can people do individually to help them thrive at this age?
My number one piece of advice for anyone, no matter your age, especially the aging population, is philanthropy. Find what makes your heart beat, what makes your heart flutter, and then join an organization, because what happens there is there's already kind of built-in community. It's a less intimidating place for you to be. And also, you're going to be with people that are like-minded and have similar values. So it's just a win-win. You can give back, serve a purpose, but also find community.
We talked about this, and I want to get your perspective at the top of the show about boomer roomies, the boomer population inviting roommates that are not necessarily related to them into their homes because they've got these huge homes and they need to fill space, and they also need to make some extra cash on the side. What are your thoughts?
I love it. I think it's connection in ways that fill a lot of deep wells. And I think that's what we're looking for as we get older, is being creative about the ways that we connect with people. And also, one of the hardest things I think for people is asking for help. And this is one of those places, especially the aging population, where they don't want to admit to the loneliness, and asking for that help can be difficult. So making sure that we're paying attention to what's actually being asked of us there, and what's the benefit for both sides. I have to go back to my grandparents for a second and say that growing up with my grandparents in our home, it taught me unbelievable life lessons that I probably would not have learned if it wasn't for the exposure to them in that way. So think about, from the younger perspective and the older perspective, what you're gaining from being in that environment.
Great information, Florence. Always great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you. So good to be with you. Thanks so much.
For more information about Florence Ann and to get a copy of her book, It Takes a Village, a guide to finding joy and community in every stage of life, please visit florenceann.com.
It is time for a little segment we all like to call Mitch, Please. All right, you're going to love this one, too. The first ever positively Jewish calendar features Instagram famous pups hailing from as far as Israel and Canada, all celebrating Jewish pride. And Mazel Tov, yes, and dog lovers can actually fetch a copy just in time for the high holidays. Picking up the pups, at least, was a pretty tough task for the calendar. Aww. For the co-creator, Rabbi Robin Frisch, she actually runs the social media group Mazel Pups. She says that, see what we did? She said that she doesn't even know these dogs at all, but it's kind of like choosing between her own dogs. It's like choosing between my own dogs. Some of the dogs have over 21,000 Instagram followers. How many does your cat have, Maddie?
It's like 1,000.
1,000? Is that it? All right, it's not a bad start. You can get a calendar. It's going to cost you $26.95 with a portion of the profits donated to the Israel Guide Dog Center. And they highlight Jewish and Israeli holidays, as well as explain what each one celebrates, so even the Gentiles can appreciate it and understand it, at least every day of the year. Am I right, everybody? Because after all, Mitch, please! Here's the thing. Now, if you need calendars, do these dogs know they're Jewish?
I don't think they do.
So, yeah, is there
a
a
little
religious...
expensive for the Jewish dogs, though.
For $27?
For $27, that's a little expensive, and this is coming from a Gentile.
Yes, we have that.
Where can you buy calendars these days? You used to be able to buy them everywhere.
Right.
Now you got to search for them.
I always feel bad around July when you see a calendar for sale and that it's like of the current year, and you're like, well, why don't you just give it
Is the dog food kosher?
That's a very good question. I don't
it's gotta
know.
Be, right?
I would think so.
I guess it would have to be.
Yes.
Who knows?
What?
I don't know.
Never make with the snippy snip.
He can do that. He's part Jewish,
Yes,
so
I
he's
can.
allowed to do that.
Yes, I
I
can.
am a Gentile, so I will. Well, you and I will work out our differences all together. All right, there we go. There's Mitch, please. Got a crazy story you want to share with us? Do so. By the way, we are always waiting for you to join us online. You can watch full episodes at dailyflashshow.com. Welcome back to Daily Flash. Let's talk about some trending stories here. I'm Mitch English. There's one food that unites all of us, and that is pizza. Wouldn't you say? I mean,
yes.
because it's communal, we can share, we can put different toppings on the side. Well, a United Airlines pilot actually treated 150 passengers to a cheesy surprise when he ordered 30 pizzas, all following an emergency landing. Pilot actually tried to ease the situation by ordering pizza from a local restaurant, a gesture that actually shocked the crew as well as the passengers. The flight was forced to make an emergency landing shortly after takeoff when a passenger collapsed in the bathroom and required medical assistance. Well, the situation left passengers stuck at the New Mexico airport. Don't they call it something different out there, Braden? It's not called the airport. It's like there's another name for it. Anyway.
El Airport?
No, it's like called
Air Lodge.
Google Phoenix while we're waiting here.
It's New Mexico.
I know, but Phoenix calls it the Sunport. Thank you.
Sunport.
The New Mexico Sunport, that's what it's called. Anyway, for several flights, their flight was actually rescheduled. They had to get a new crew to come in. New flight took off 7 hours after the emergency landing there. So good for him. Pilots.
He tried. He was trying to help out.
Doing a lot of people don't realize that a pilot is a captain, by all means, and and he's a captain of a ship that happens to fly. So he is rules no matter what. He can make his own rules. If you don't like it, he can kick you off. And we only hear those stories. So to hear a story like this, I really appreciate it.
Mitch, you brought this story up on our Monday show about some lost footage that has just been found, right? Never before seen footage of President John F. Kennedy's motorcade speeding toward a Dallas hospital has been sold at auction. The auction house offered the lot to an anonymous bidder for $137,000. The bidding started at $12,000. The footage was taken by Dale Carpenter on a home movie camera. It had been sitting in a milk crate until 2010 when his grandson discovered the reel, projected it onto his bedroom wall.
Wow.
Carpenter was lined up along the street, ready to film JFK's motorcade on November 22nd, 1963. He just missed filming the president's limousine and settled for recording the other cars in the procession. The film footage, though, picks up after Kennedy had been shot. Carpenter captured the president's car driving toward Parkland Memorial Hospital in Dallas. The auction did release photos from the video showing the president's limo, but have no plans to release the entire footage.
Well, somebody paid a lot of money for it to have it there. And, you know, we think of the Zapruder film as the one that we see. And if you ever been to Dallas, was it you and I talking? That
I've been there.
You could see, like, wait a minute.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Because they tell you, they're like,
don't know.
look over here and then there, and you're like, that doesn't make
that window
physics.
is so far away. You know, you kind of think about it, and it's part of American history. A horrible thing happened at the same time, and the great movies have come out as well. And we just don't know because they said, we're not going to release this information for decades from now.
Until after everyone is dead from the Kennedy Commission and all of that. The
Warren
Warren
we still
Commission.
don't know. And then they release some stuff and it's all been truncated where it's all a lot of black.
I always said if I became president, and, you know, God save the country if that ever happens.
Lord
that ain't
Almighty.
gonna happen. Thank you. I want to know two things. JFK and aliens. That's the first things I do when I walk into that office and go, aliens and JFK.
I would
what
want to
happened?
know aliens first, I think. Because I think it's there. I mean, I don't think it's like in the movies, but I think there was some kind of
Gotta be.
Back and to the right. Back and to the right.
And what we forget is that back then, you know, now everybody has cameras and immediacy of information. Whereas back then, a lot of times I would tell you something, then you go, well, Mitch said this, and then it turned into something. So we don't have, you could see where some things went off grid as far as the story goes, but you still want to know. And that's our human nature is to find out.
It's crazy to think in this day and age of all the information that we have that we still don't know the specifics.
Exactly. Jackson, were you named after anybody in your family?
Yes. Yes, not after in my family. But I asked my parents, I'm like, why Andrea? And they're like, well, we met a flight attendant at a party, and her name was Andy Bartlett, and her real name was Andrea Bartlett, and we just loved the name.
That's cool.
So we thought we'll name our daughter Andrea so she can go by Andy, and I
love it. I call you Andy. Matt, were you anybody?
Just the middle name, Irvin, is a family name. My grandfather had it, my uncle has it, I have it.
Mitch?
I was not, but my siblings, we all have the same initials. All of us do. All five of us. And so they just, I guess, we need an M name. So where it came to me. Well, anyway, a Michigan newborn actually rocking a catchy name that actually will serve a constant reminder of the unusual place where he was born. Kylie and Aaron Baker gave birth to their third child in the parking lot of One Well Brewing.
Oh, he looks ecstatic.
Right when they went into labor. The kid looks passed out right there as well. That ain't beer. The couple named their child Forrest Wells Baker, choosing a middle name that pays tribute to one of their favorite pubs. Kylie said that she didn't realize that she was in labor until she initially told her husband she was expecting and experiencing some cramping. As they made their way to the hospital, the Bakers were forced to pull over into the parking lot of the brewery as the baby couldn't wait. The owner said that he found out what was happening in the parking lot after the Bakers called a to-go order, if you can buy that. The brewery celebrated the news on their Facebook page, posting that the pub is a gathering spot for all kinds, even newborns. But he'll have to wait 21 years before he's allowed in, by all means. Okay, that, like middle names, like that, that's cool.
That's cool.
That's actually a cool
Wells,
story.
I like that,
I was born in a parking lot of a brewery. I mean, that's actually really cool. I love that.
Your fate could be sealed for you. You may be the landlord of a pub in your future.
I love that. We got more trending news and entertainment, lots of fun when we return.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everybody. I am Mitch English.
I'm Andrea Jackson. This is Daily Flash, your source for trending news and entertainment.
Halfway through the week, we're so glad that you're here. Halfway through our show, too. And we have got great stuff still planned for us. Okay, just imagine this. If we put you on assignment, we go, hey, Matt or Andrea, say, hey, we want you this weekend. We want you to go down to West Palm Beach for the weekend. And you do some work and come on back, right? Cool. You go do it. And you go down there and they go, oh, your car is messed up. You're going to have to stay down there. And you wind up staying for a total of 5 months. And then when we go and send a car down to go get you, you have to wait an additional 4 months before you can come back. And that is what 2 astronauts right now are doing on the International Space Station.
Astronauts, God bless
Poor,
them.
so, and then they said, well, we're going to send you up some new spacesuits. So a change of clothes is nice.
Right, yeah, that would
from
help.
From
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, right.
Because he's the one sending one of his
SpaceX
rockets
Ubers,
up.
if you will.
Yeah, his own personal Uber up there to
with
grab
2
them
seats
and
ready
bring
to
them.
go.
And 2 seats
Bring
ready
them
to go.
back.
But they're not going to be able to come back until February. So you can imagine that. So you made plans for Christmas holidays or whatever.
you
And you're like, hey, honey,
They were supposed to be
I'm
there
not gonna
for
make
8
it home
days.
or not. I know, that's
8
what
days.
I'm saying.
And now they're stuck up there for
They've been up there
6 months?
since June.
And
yes.
will it be close to a year by the time they come back?
Oh, well, they're up there in June. They're coming back in February. So near about. I mean, at least.
If everything works out in
And that's the
February
case.
is a date that works for everybody and the stars.
And, it's like, you didn't pack enough underwear.
No.
For that, right? So.
Think about what if you had plans, like what if you
That's
were
what I'm saying.
engaged to get
Yeah.
married or a
What about
birthday or
Christmas?
graduation. Well, clearly, holidays, all of that
I feel
stuff.
so sorry for those.
My wife's in the space community. She's trying to be the first space lawyer out there. This is a clown show going on in that community of like, Boeing's never going to be trusted ever again to do one of these rockets.
And Boeing's already had so much issues with their strike going on, and then obviously with their airplanes as well.
Yeah.
We should make mention. I call them American heroes. Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams are those 2 astronauts that are up there. I've not heard them complain at all.
Yeah.
So good for them.
Give it till they get home.
Oh, they will. Wait till they get home. But you don't complain when you're
stuck up there. You're
What
not
if
going
you were one of their kids in school and you were sick? I'm sorry, I can't get a note from my parent because she's up in space.
If you
She's
can reach
stuck
her,
in space.
Go ahead.
She should have been home by now.
I need the new iPhone update. I was supposed to have it, and I can't get it all the way up here.
Goodness gracious. Well, we hope for the best, and hopefully they get
Crossing
home
our
safe
fingers.
and sound. A woman was busted for smuggling more than 700 pounds of bologna across the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas.
Mitch.
The 43-year-old, an American citizen, tried to enter the country from Mexico, only declaring a cooked meal during her first inspection. However, after a secondary look through her car, they found several suitcases stuffed with 40 rolls of sandwich meat. In total, inspectors found 748 pounds of Mexican bologna. Yep, it's illegal to bring it stateside because it's considered a treat, or a threat, I should say, to America's pork industry. Agents continued to search her car and found 280 boxes of prescription drugs hidden inside various panels of her car.
It's a good time.
They also found more than $7,500 in hidden cash.
And I say, bologna. I can't eat bologna. I can't eat hot dogs because they can't tell me what's inside them. I mean, they can give me a general idea, and that's the United States, which we have somewhat of some rules.
Right.
Mexico, totally different story. I'm not knocking the country or whatever.
No.
They just don't have the same standards. And for you to send it to I call that
bologna.
worse. 700 pounds of Mexican bologna in America is not a good thing to have at all.
The question is what was she going to do with it?
Yeah.
Is she taking it is she going to sell it for human consumption? Was she going to take it to a zoo? Was she taking it to a pet store? I don't know.
With all the
Starting
drugs,
OnlyFans.
it makes you wonder she's not doing everything for...
Was there something inside the bologna?
That's a good thing to check.
I don't know if they cut it open.
No one knows what's inside bologna, so
No.
no one will open it up.
No,
Never
you're
find it
right.
out.
She probably has like a whole other stash of something in the bologna.
I would think so. Still, I'm just glad it didn't make its way into the United
When
States.
you go to prison, though, and they ask you, what are you in for? I
Smuggling.
smuggled in a bunch of bologna from Mexico. Like, do the other prisoners just go, you should have murdered somebody?
They go,
yeah, like, what are they, how are you treated in prison?
They actually put you in a whole different section because that bologna is gonna
Bologna
wind up in a
smugglers
prison.
get their own section?
Well, you've never been in prison, have you?
No.
Think about what you just
Not
said.
yet.
Hey, we're going to do the scene with Doreen coming up next.
This is Tim. Tim is all about time, and if you've ever had a chance to look into Tim's cold, dead eyes, you'll see that it's time for you to follow us on social media. Sure, there's 10,000 social sites out there, and we don't have the time to name them all. Seriously, just ask Tim. So take the time to look for Daily Flash TV on your favorite social sites and start following us. That's all the time, Tim. Goodbye.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. It is time to get on the scene. This week, Doreen is chatting it up with female bass player Mohini Day.
Hey guys, this week on The Scene with Doreen, I got to sit down with Mohini Day, bass guitarist extraordinaire. She has set the music industry on fire, and I can't wait to feel the heat. Check it out. When was the first time it hit you that you really are a role model for so many young girls?
Yeah, that always gets me. That every time, like I'll give you an example. When I was touring with Willow Smith, I was surprised that a lot of people in the audience, they were calling out my name during her show, you know? And I was like, whoa, you know, that's crazy. Who would have thought, you know? It's like, so people are well informed, like,
Sure.
there she is playing bass, you know?
Yeah, you stand out, girl. In traditional Indian culture, it's a patriarchal society. The majority of the power rests with the men.
Yeah.
You know, in America, we have our issues too. I want to say, you really are a badass. Are men intimidated by you?
Yeah, I always felt like, you know, that was there at first, but are they intimidated? I'm sure, like, the first time, you know, the people that meet me for the first time probably they think I am too pretentious and full of attitude and stuff, and she must be very bold and stuff. But then when they meet me, they realize I am so not all of that. Yeah, I mean, if people feel intimidated by that, then that's their problem.
That's on them, not on you.
Yeah.
I know you have an affinity for fashion as well as music. So I want to know, is there a Mohini Day fashion line in the works?
Yeah. It's going to take a little bit of time because I'm also working on a couple of other things. This is the first time I'm announcing it, actually. I'm working on my signature straps.
Ooh.
And then we have signature strings coming out. So a lot of things in the making that are going to be launched in the next few months. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. And the fashion thing, I used to cut up my mom's saris and just clothes and make my own outfits. And I like to design my own outfits for my photo shoots, for my album cover, for my performances. And I like to wear my own designs, you know?
That's awesome. You're on stage wearing your creations so everyone can see it. It's like a walking billboard. It's perfect.
Yeah, people love it. People see it and they ask me, where did you get it from? I was like, you can't get it anywhere. This is my creation.
Now you're going to have a thing where, like, an app where they'll, like, put a photo on you and be able to click on your jacket or click on your pants and be able to order it as you're on stage.
Man, that's a great idea. I don't know if I'm allowed to say
No, it's all right. It's all right. I like that. I think I got to work for you. I think we got to team up here, girl.
Yeah. This is amazing. I'm writing that down.
You're really setting the industry on fire. You're changing the way people perceive an instrument that, like you said, is very, you know, traditionally masculine, and you're adding this whole new flavor and look and sound, and hats off to you.
Thank you so much. I had such a great time.
Mohini has redefined the very definition of bass guitar player, and I can't wait to see what she has in store for us next. And if you want to hear more of our great conversation, you can visit right here. I'm Doreen Taylor with The Scene with Doreen here at the Daily Flash each week. See you next time.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. I'm excited about this. There's a new form of therapy that involves cows. They're not talking about the ones that grows out of patties. It's about hugging cows. And here to tell us all about it is Ellie Laks. She's author of Cow Hug Therapy. She joins us this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Ellie. There's benefits for cow hugging? Tell me about this.
Oh my God, it is nothing short of miraculous. Cows are so large and so nurturing that when they trust people, we can find the most extraordinary brand of healing with them, to rest our faces on their sides,
Yeah.
close our eyes, slow down our heartbeat to match theirs, rise and fall with their breathing, feel small, helpless, and vulnerable in a giant protective frame. It's like a giant mom hug, and it makes everything better.
Okay, so I love cows. Everybody here knows I love cows. I was doing some stories, I think, earlier in my career, and I was talking to a dairy farmer, and he had this cow. I promise you, this thing was like a dog. Like, he could play with it and everything. And do cows have their own personalities, would you say?
Oh, very, very
Yeah?
much so. Yeah, some are really strong leaders, some are very submissive and gentle, some are very kind of zen and
Look at this.
grounded.
This is great.
Others are kind of pranksters and have a great sense of humor. They are just as different as you and I, but their personalities are huge and very evident when you're looking through the lens of love. And I always say that cows are everything that we should be. They are matriarchal, they're vegan, they meditate every single day. Family is their most treasured value. They socialize and play with one another. They face their challenges head on, and they are 100% inclusive. They are wonderful animals.
All right, let's talk about what inspired you to explore and maybe and even write about this unique form of animal therapy. What was your inspiration?
It was my very first cow, Buddha, 25 years ago. I rescued her. I knew I was going to love her. I was struggling with getting my little nonprofit off the ground. And every day I would sit next to her in the evenings, and she would wrap her neck around me and hold me. And she would wash away the stress of the day and strengthen me for the next morning. And I very shortly realized that there are other people in the world that need these hugs. And so I started inviting people in from foster agencies, drug and alcohol rehab centers, domestic violence shelters, homeless shelters, to come and get her hugs. And it healed them the same way it was healing me. And it changed our lives. And we've been doing it now for 25 years.
Okay, well, you have sessions there that you mentioned. What can people expect? And how does it differ from more maybe other traditional animal-assisted therapies?
You know, when you're walking a dog, holding a cat, or riding a horse, it's very therapeutic, but we're still in a leadership position. I think what cows bring to the table is that we are very humble and vulnerable in front of them because they outweigh us by so much. And so it makes us very small and humble and vulnerable. And that's where really healing starts. When we're vulnerable and open, that's when we can really start to heal. So for trauma, grief, depression, anxiety, when we don't want to talk about our feelings, when talk therapy is not effective, we can come in the embrace of a cow and really move forward in our evolution and our healing. It is extraordinary.
I'm looking at the video as you're talking here, and honestly, it relaxes me seeing the cows because they're just, they're just these big, lovable things. I feel about it. And a lot of your animals that you work with are rescued. Does that influence any part of the role by providing therapy to those that come to get some of that therapy hugs?
Yes, I honestly think that that's a very key component. It's just like a human therapist who have gone through their own trauma, learn to heal, and then want to pay it forward to other hurting humans. It's the same with our animals. All our animals are rescued from severe trauma, abuse, and neglect. Coming to the Gentle Barn and being taken through our extensive rehabilitation program allows them to heal, forgive, and trust. And then at some point in their journey, they choose to trust us and to heal us and to pay it forward.
I love it, and I want to hug a cow. I'm assuming that maybe don't jump a fence and go and hug a cow. Go to a place. Actually, if you want to find out more about cow hug therapy, mosey on over to dailyflashshow.com. You can check out Amazon as well. Ellie, this is really cool. You've calmed me down. I'm going to have to go find me some cows to hug. We appreciate you being here on the show today.
I feel just calm after watching that.
Right, wasn't it neat just to see the cows just kind of just relax? I think it's just like, hey, all right, I'm here, I'm a cow.
I love animals, so any sort of moment that you can capture like that, it's just like,
There's a connection, and you think that after how long we've been on the earth, that we would know more than what we do, and there's so much more we don't know
to
about.
learn, for sure.
Emily Colandelli, known as Emily the Space Gal, is here to tell us more about Arm & Hammer's Baking Soda Rocket Day launch across America on October 10th, marking the finale of the World Space Week in October. Today, Emily shares how Arm & Hammer Baking Soda's Rocket Day can get students nationwide excited about science. Welcome, Emily.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to partner with Arm & Hammer Baking Soda to help launch Baking Soda Rocket Day on October 10th. This is also in partnership with the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. And on this day, we are going to be launching the most baking soda rockets in a single day. And I am so incredibly excited to be part of it. I'm going to be in Queens, New York, helping one of the 250 schools who are participating help launch their baking soda rockets. And what I love most about this, and I learned this firsthand as host of Emily's Wonder Lab on Netflix, where we do a lot of hands-on science experiments with kids, is that sometimes it only takes one of these science experiments for a kid to see themselves as a scientist. And it's just so important that we do this with kids all across the country, because these fields in science and technology, they are accelerating at an unprecedented pace. And we need everyone to get involved, because these problems are so complex that we're going to need diverse, creative ideas from everywhere. And that's why I'm so proud to be part of Baking Soda Rocket Day with Arm & Hammer, because we are bringing the science to them. These schools received all the materials that they needed to make this very easy, accessible, hands-on science experiment, along with the lesson plan that teaches them the science behind it. And one of my favorite parts of Baking Soda Rocket Day is that all of the kids are instructed to write their dream inside the rocket, so that we are launching their dreams sky high. Because I believe, and Arm & Hammer believes, that the sky is not the limit. I'm going to space soon. I know that the sky is not the limit. And we know that science experiments like this can help make sure that their dreams are brighter than the stars. And the best part about this is that everybody who gets involved enters for a chance to win a trip for their child to go to space camp, which is a pretty fun incentive. So you can learn more about how to get involved in the sweepstakes rules and all of that at bakingsodarocket.com.
Awesome. I just let you keep going.
Thanks, Emily. We'll make sure we have this on our website at dailyflashshow.com.
Attention Daily Flash fans. Ever dreamt of being part of the action? Now's your chance. Join our exclusive virtual audience and experience the show like never before. Get a special credit on the show, interact with our fabulous hosts, chat with producers, and guess what? Some lucky participants might even find themselves on a massive billboard in iconic locations like New York's Times Square, Los Angeles' Sunset Strip, Miami, or Atlanta. Don't miss out on this electrifying opportunity. Sign up now by heading over to blyzeal.com and be a star with the Daily Flash virtual audience.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I know, Mitch, you've had dogs in the past.
Yeah,
I had one, yes.
Okay.
with
Dog,
Priscilla.
did you ever do the dog walk stuff?
Had, like, take them out to
Yeah,
walk?
yeah.
My kids did it more than I did, just because they wanted to have a chore.
Yeah. So I've got two big dogs, which I try and watch. I try and walk them on a daily basis.
Okay.
Well, the other night, Alan joined me for the walk. Thankfully, he did. As we were coming up a corner, I saw a young man standing like in a grassy median, and he had a very large gray pit bull.
Okay.
And I just had a bad feeling. I just something in me was like, ooh, this might not be good. Sure enough, as we got closer, this young man did not have control of this pit bull. And when I tell you this pit bull was ginormous,
a big old one?
The jaw was this wide.
Wow.
That pit bull got loose from this guy on the leash, ran directly towards us and our two dogs, and I was like, oh my God. I was just and thankfully Alan grabbed the leash of the pit bull, held on to him, and he yelled at the guy. He's like, get control of your dog. In the meantime, my dog's like, what is happening? What is happening? And thankfully I was able to pull them to the side, and then, luckily nobody was hurt, but it was really terrifying.
You had another incident. You messed up your hand
exactly.
at the same time, so I could understand
exactly.
why.
And then another lady just posted something on our neighborhood Facebook page. Does anyone know who owns that gray pit bull? My Dalmatian was tagged, and we just got back back from the vet, torn apart. Luckily, the dog survived, but I'm like, this young man clearly has no business
There
with
was
this
just
dog.
that court case where this lady and her husband got put in jail for years because they didn't control their dogs and they murdered an elderly man.
Oh, God.
Got to say, the pit bulls,
Yes.
they're great animals.
dogs.
First off,
Yes.
it's how
It's
they're
the owner.
trained. The
It's
owners,
the owner's
100%.
responsibility, 100%, yes.
And they look intimidating,
Yes.
which they pick up on that from other people
Of
too. But they
course.
are a lot of times just little puppy
Wonderful
dogs, wonderful dogs.
But
yeah.
it's all about, handling
Yes.
them
And trained,
and being
yeah.
able to train them and control them.
Do it, especially if you're in a neighborhood where people walk their
Yes.
dogs. Y'all take care. Have a fantastic Wednesday. We'll see you when we look at you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.